Oh goodness, okay.
Try and get my nerves out. Hello, I'm Annika. I use she, they pronouns, and I'm a proud member of the physically disabled community and the queer community. And I'm here to talk about what my lived experience within sexuality and disability and all things porn.
Hi, I'm Tobias. I use he, him pronouns, and today I'm talking about the trans community and fetishization.
Hi, my name is Claudia. I use she, her pronouns, and today I'll be talking to you about my experience of fetishization as an Asian woman.
Hi, I'm Taisha. My pronouns are she, her, and today I will be speaking from the perspective of two communities, mixed race people and also plus size people. What is fetishization?
What is fetishization? Oh, that's such a difficult question to answer in its own ways.
So I think to me, fetishization kind of means that people assign a lot of emphasis to a particular part or attribute of someone. For example, maybe it's their race, their gender, their sexuality, their religion, their ability, what their body looks like, stuff like that.
And they don't really see the person as a whole person, rather they see them as a set of attributes that they like to have sex with.
Often being treated as kind of like a fantasy, as something kind of like rare that's might be different to what a person is usually used to. Like you're something different and like exotic and rare.
Something that is typically not sexual in nature is used in a sexual gratifying way for someone.
In the mixed race community, I feel like that's when someone is attracted to you purely because of something like, skin complexion or any other physical features that go hand in hand with being mixed race. People only being attracted to our bodies rather than us as people or whole individuals. But I think the problem can come where you're being fetishized for your body and there's like no respect for just you as an individual outside of your body and what it can do for them.
It can be empowerment. Finding people that have sexual gratification from those parts of me that I feel are not as sexual, as not beautiful, as not empowering as I typically would have seen. Having someone fetishize that has been an empowering thing. It can be something that gives you strength and makes you feel sexy and different in a beautiful way, but it also can make you feel, I think the flip side of fetishization for me is not feeling sexy for me and not feeling sexy for who I am and my core and my soul and all of those other beautiful things. And while it's beautiful to feel sexy from your physicality, I think fetishization can offer a gateway into figuring out how to feel sexually confident, but it's a very slippery road to not feeling sexually divine.
How does porn portray your community?
Trans men like me don't get a lot of light when it comes to trans porn. It's mostly trans women.
How porn has betrayed my community in the past is I don't see people with my physicality in porn. I don't see people with my bodies in mainstream porn. And if I do want to find people with my bodies in mainstream porn, it's usually in a very negative light.
So trans women are often featured in porn because all porn is usually using women for the male gaze more so than for those communities themselves. So a lot of trans porn isn't for the trans community. It is for usually cis men to sort of use our community and to see them in a specific sexual light and to overly sexualize them. And in a way, it almost dehumanizes them as people. And so therefore, they are only sexual objects. And unfortunately, most people don't meet trans people in real life. So they see trans people as only a sexual object and nothing else.
There's also like playing into stereotypes, or it might be that you're cornered into playing one stereotype and disregarding like the other parts of your identity, just putting labels on people. Like I notice it more with women. The appearance is always kind of the selling point in even just the video titles. Like it might be light-skinned girl or biracial babe or things like that. So it's always about what the person looks like and their physical features.
Women are always portrayed as innocent, submissive, sort of docile and never have autonomy over their own sexual desires or needs. And also that they love sex and that they're hypersexualized or really enjoy being subservient in a sexual relationship. Asian women are oftentimes a fantasy or portrayed as exotic. Asian women can also be infantilized a lot of the time, and Asian women are portrayed as always having a tight vagina, always being petite. They are compliant, they follow orders, and they're shy, quiet, reserved. Yeah, ready to enjoy whatever you have to offer. But that's not the case in real life, is it?
I would say there are probably two main archetypes. There's either like the more submissive, kind of needy, desperate for attention woman, and then, or there's the woman who is more dominant and kind of, she knows what she wants and she knows how to please, and there's like those two with hardly any in between. I'm probably yet to come across a video that has just a plus size woman with a partner or partners, and they're just being sensual and intimate without the title focusing or honing in on the fact that she has a bigger body in some way.
Trying to consume porn that is positive and portrays my disability, but not in a fetishized and humiliating sort of way, is a struggle.
Do you think porn accurately portrays your community?
No, I don't. I think it's super important for people to understand the relationship between colonization and Asian women, specifically in sex work, and how a lot of these stereotypes have arisen from colonization and from Western countries colonizing Asian countries and making Asian women specifically subservient to them and always of service sexually to them as well.
No, again, I feel like it's those kind of, you're either like needy submissive, or like you know what you want and you take charge, and there's like no middle ground. I think it would be quite impossible to portray mixed people because there are so many variations of, you know, backgrounds, and you can't possibly portray a mixed person accurately across the board.
I would love to say yes, but in this day and age, I think we're just becoming aware that disabled people are sexual beings with desires and indulgences that's and kinky and weird in their own beautiful ways, but that's not portrayed in porn. I don't think that at the moment porn accurately displays any of my community.
But there is the more amateur side of porn where I feel like it is very trans inclusive because it's the trans community making porn by them for their trans sort of peers. I feel like the amateur stuff can be a lot more ethical and can be a lot better at portraying what trans sex is and what trans porn can be, rather than your mainstream, which really does tend to dehumanize a lot of trans people.
Has fetishization impacted you or your community in everyday life, dating, or sex? If so, how? Oh my God, yes.
Even in everyday life, I would say people just feel very welcome to comment on your appearance or kind of question, and it turns into kind of an interrogation, like asking, what are you, or where are you really from, where are you actually from, you know, making comments about your hair, for me personally, or people coming up and touching your hair. I even a few weeks ago had a nurse ask, like I was at the doctor's and had a nurse ask, is that your real hair? She was complimenting my hair as well, so the intentions were good, but it's like, I feel like it can make you feel almost like a zoo animal, like you're this thing that's being like looked at. And like, also, if you have a name that isn't a traditional Western sounding name, that's another thing too. I was working at a school one time and I had to take the kids into the library, and the librarian asked, she asked me what my name was. she said my name was pretty exotic sounding, and you don't hear that every day. So just like little comments like that are actually quite common. In primary school, I remember, if another student asked like where I'm from, they wouldn't believe me. Like when I told them that my dad is black, um, because of how I look, I get, you know, you might one might not think that I am black because my skin is lighter, especially when I went to school with my sister who is darker than me. So there was always that like comparison, and that was really weird to deal with. With sex and dating, there can be this like just a lot of assumptions and stereotypes are put onto you. For example, if one of your backgrounds is black, you might be expected to be fiery and maybe outspoken, and like if you're not that, then yeah, like there's just these people expect you to be certain ways. And I've even had one guy say to me, "You're my first black girl," and that was really weird because first of all, it's like, okay, what do you even say to that? It was also really weird because I've also struggled with how to self-identify, and so it was jarring to hear because I feel like I've stayed away from labeling myself as one or the other, like black or white. And I've always tried to kind of, in terms of like self identifying or actually saying out loud, I've always tried to say that I am mixed. And yeah, so that's always been something I've struggled with. And to hear someone else place a label on you can be quite confronting. So I think you have to be really careful with that type of thing because you don't know what deep rooted kind of insecurities or issues or traumas you're actually bringing up in that person.
I would definitely say porn does massively impact the trans community when it comes to dating and sex. I feel like it's very common to have a lot of people want to have sex with trans people, but they wouldn't really be seen in the light of day because it's too taboo to really be seen as dating or being seen with a trans person. But under the cover of night, when there's no lights, I feel like people really do want to have sex with trans people, but they just wouldn't be caught dead with them in light.
Um, Even in everyday life, I've noticed if you are in a bigger body, I feel like people or some people tend to just respect you less in general. And I would go to the extent of saying that a lot of men, whether they realize it or not, tend to be less respectful to women that they aren't attracted to sexually or physically. And I think that comes back to us living in a patriarchal society where for so long women's worth has been tied to how desirable they are. It's almost like you're less deserving of kindness and respect as just like the default. And yeah, that can be really dehumanizing, but it's still so prevalent today and it happens everywhere. It's not just relationships, it happens in healthcare, in everyday life in general. There can be this sense of almost entitlement to your body and to you. And because bigger bodies are more frowned upon in society, we've been seen as less desirable. And so if someone is interested in you or your body, it's almost like you're expected to be thankful for that and you're expected to be appreciative and grateful that you're even getting that attention in the first place. I had a guy message me one time. Um, he was complimenting my body, and when I didn't respond, not even intentionally, I just hadn't opened the messages yet. A few hours passed, and all of a sudden, there was an instant switch, and he was saying he didn't know what he was thinking. He was never attracted in the first place. And then telling me to go to the gym to lose weight and just calling me like these awful names. So I think that really speaks on like there's a sense of shame as well around being interested in plus size people. Yeah, there's a good chance that if someone is interested in you, they would like to keep it private or it's in secret?
When you are young and you are trying to figure out your sexuality and you are trying to become empowered and confident in it, most of the ways that we consume disabled people being sexy is in a pitying way, in a very, very soft way, in a very, very palatable way. It's always, I can't talk, but it's always a very beautiful, very pretty, skinny white girl in a wheelchair, and that is the most palatable version of disabled sex that we have. And then how that interacts with my life and people interacting with me and dating and that whole world, the amount of disgusting questions that I have had of like, can you have sex? How are you able to have sex? And then the feeling of always being a second choice is, we talk about sex positivity so much, but when you're trying to find your own ways of feeling sexually empowered and you're trying to find sexual partners, you can accidentally, and especially when you're young, not respect yourself, and you don't want to hold shame over sex. You want to be like, hell yeah, I'm having a sexy fun time. But sex positivity also means having a sexual partner that respects you as well, and that is a struggle to find when you're physically disabled, because the comments of, oh, I can get past the wheelchair, oh, I don't even need to think about that, oh, some of the other horrible ones of, oh, she'll need the wheelchair after I her, or at least she's got the wheelchair. Those sorts of demeaning sexual comments can make you not feel worthy of engaging in dating, not feel like you're allowed to be part of that scene. Sometimes I worry so much that people have judgment towards my partners for why would they want to be with that person, or maybe that partner's got something kinky or freaky in their brain, that's why they're with this person, and that sort of demeans the love that I have there with that person. It's almost like your partner would be giving up something to be with you.
I have a fear that people will only see me for my race when dating or having sex and not me as a whole person. I think that I also fear that I'm also like a checkbox for them to tick off their list of sexual conquests. I fear that people see me and think that I am subservient and submissive and there just to please. Yeah, I'm scared when dating that people are literally just going to see me as a sexual object or like a sexual fantasy, and that they'll kind of disregard me as a whole or me as a person. And people often think that it's flattering that heaps of people love Asian women. Like, it is the number one search term on Pornhub in Australia. So they need to realize that having an Asian fetish isn't flattery and that it actually is perpetuating racial stereotypes, specifically about Asian women. By preferencing Asian women as your sexual preference, you are actually disregarding them as full human beings. You're only seeing them as objects to satisfy your sexual desire. Yeah, therefore you are seeing them as subhuman. I've even had a man say to me that swearing doesn't suit you. So that kind of, well, why does it not suit me? Is it because of the way I look? Is it because you hold all these stereotypes about me that aren't true? I don't know. Yeah, it's even impacted me in everyday life, I guess. Even in school, people always thought because I'm Asian, I'm always going to be shy and quiet and studious and smart. Yeah, I think even teachers held their own kind of biases or stereotypes about Asian women, and that really impacted their view of me in different subjects, for example. So typically Asian people are good at maths and good at science and not good at sport, and so I feel like I just wasn't as seen as my white friends at school in certain aspects.
What do you want to set the record straight about? Well, I can't speak for everyone, of course, but we are people, we have feelings. Our identities are often complex and it can be really hard to have your identity questioned and invalidated so much. That can be really hard to deal with and isolating as well. It just seems like your race or your ethnicity, your background, it's always up for discussion to other people. But honestly, at the end of the day, we just want to exist without having our existence questioned and poked at and prodded.
If you are a trans person dating, you deserve someone who will be seen with you, who is happy to be with you, whether it's night or day, whether it is having sex with you or dating or casual, whatever it is. You don't deserve to feel put down or put into a closet just because somebody else can't accept who they are.
Something that I would want to set the record straight on is that a lot of disabled people are still figuring out where we fit into the sexual spectrum. We're only just now feeling included and part of the conversation, especially within kink, especially within the queer community, and seeing ourselves represented in it, especially in inclusive communities. And within that, I think giving disabled people a bit of grace and time to figure out that we're only just discovering now that we're desirable, and we're desirable to others, and we're desirable to ourselves, and that we are sexually beautiful and sexually powerful in so many different ways. And what sexuality means gets to be interpreted by us. We get to define what that means by us. If there was anything that I want to set the record straight on, it's cheesy, it's corny, but it's that disabled people are just as much of people as anyone else. So we're kinky, we're weird, we're fun, we're sad, we're rage-filled, we're joy-filled, we're angry, we're happy, but we're also horny human beings that want to be part of this conversation and want to see ourselves included within the world of sexuality.
We deserve to exist without constant comments being made about our body. Also, that we're allowed to have standards. Just because we're seen, or we traditionally have been seen as less desirable, it doesn't mean we have to settle for less and only accept breadcrumbs. And we're allowed to actually have standards for ourselves.
I think that Asian women hold a lot of resilience and strength. I think that they have been undermined and underestimated their whole lives, and so they are a force to be reckoned with. I think that, don't let anyone tell you how you should be or define what you are, because you are individual, you are unique, and you are your own beautiful person. And don't let your own self-worth be dictated by someone else just based on stereotypes that they see in porn.
You don't have anything to prove. You don't have to prove to anyone that you are sexy, that you are desirable. The only person you have to prove that to is yourself. And to run around and chase people and find their validation, no one else is going to give you the validation that you can give yourself. So yes, be sexy, be beautiful, be joyful, be sad, be angry, but learn to love and desire yourself first. Yeah.
Yay!
Thank you.
Thanks.